What's up? What's up, complete athletes? Coach Ronnie here in the building. And I hope you guys are having a great Monday so far. Hope you had a great Father's Day weekend, Father's Day Sunday. And I know you guys are still out there playing your tournaments. Some people are playing as we speak, from what I saw, from people I've talked to. And I know some people won some tournaments this weekend. If you won some tournaments, drop the news in the comments so we can shout you guys out. Thanks for joining us. All right. So, bottom line, we're talking about speed today, right? So let's dive right into it. If you're an athlete that's training hard but still seeing real, if you are, I'm gonna start all over. All right, apologies. If your athlete is training hard but still not seeing real speed gains, this live is for you. Right? I'm going to break down the four biggest reasons athletes stay slow, and when they're putting it in the work, and when they're putting in the work. I'll also give two actionable speed building drills you can start using today. All right. I'm going to give you one additional tip as well, or actionable activity as well. This one is going to be right here mental. All right. So, just in case you just joined the group, every Sunday I look and we have a long list of new members. Thank you for that. Gratitude, nothing but gratitude for that. So a lot of you might not know who I am, so I'm going to give you my rundown, give you my story. Hi, I'm Ryan Kenyatta. I spent 12 years as a strength and conditioning coach within the New York Mets organization, helping top athletes get faster, stronger, and stay on the field. Now I bring that same high-level training to you and your athletes. With one big difference, I combine physical training with mindset development. All right. This is the only space on Facebook dedicated to helping parents and athletes build both the body and the mind equally, because true performance starts from the inside out. All right. You want maximum results. You want to correct your inside. I like to say balance your inside, and that balance will be expressed externally on the field, mentally, but will be expressed externally throughout life. All right. So, a couple things I want to talk about, a little housekeeping before we dive in. All right. Like I said, first thing on my list is welcome to new members. Thank you all. A long list of you. Thank you. And thank you for being part of this group. And I look forward to you participating in the very near future. All right. Now, next, we have our second live, or our travel parent talk show. We had our debut, myself and Michelle Keys, my co-host. We had our debut last Friday. That was good to get that thing rocking and rolling. We're going to talk later, but I'm going to propose that we have the show every other week, so twice a month. So we'll make that official, announce that to you all. But make sure you stop by. If you're a parent, you're a coach, or athlete, stop by. We're going to talk about the pain points that travel parents go through. Want to give our solutions, but we want you to show up because we're going to have professionals, from coaches to professionals in certain industries that can help you travel parents, whether it's emotional, physical, mental, nutrition. We're going to have a professional in here giving you all guidance how to manage the travel sports parent lifestyle the best you can. And it's a place you can just talk and get things off your shoulders. So please tune in so it won't be this Friday. I'll confirm this with Michelle. It won't be this Friday. It should be next Friday at 9:30 a.m. So be on the lookout for that. And I just started using this Stream app. It's pretty cool, pretty exciting to get this thing going. So shout out to the YouTube family. I've been on YouTube forever. Got approaching 2,000 subscribers, and I just never did the lives over there. So I'm excited to be talking to my YouTube family. Shout out to YouTube and my Facebook family. All right. So, and another thing we'll be talking to you guys about soon is this right here. You see this patch right here? We're going to be talking about this. It's a game changer, folks. Can't wait to dive into that. I'm going to post a little information on this patch. today in the group. But shout out, it's called the X39 patch, the X39 patch, and what it does is, well, it it allows the body to stimulate dormant stem cells. All right, so the patch itself doesn't directly do that, but I'll explain the details at another time or post in the group. So, but you came here to learn why your athlete's still so slow. So let's dive into it. All right, dive right in. Number one, poor sprint mechanics. All right, so inefficient mechanics equals wasted movement. According to research in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research, form inefficiencies increase ground contact time and reduce drive frequency. Yes, 100% accurate. Now, I want you to look at this a little differently. I look at it as yes, you're wasting, you know, movement, but also you're wasting energy. All right, you're wasting energy. As a sprinter, or when you're sprint training, your energy is everything. Your ATP, the amount of energy you have in the tank, is everything. All right, our rest, when we train as sprinters, our rest is can be up to 8 minutes to get that ATP back to about 80%. Right? That's what we want to be able to, for you all to be able to, for the athletes to be able to run 100%, 100% effort. You can't train speed running 40%, running 50%, running 80%, even 90%. You know, so we have to be able to go all out consistently. So rest is super important. Energy is super important. When you're uh, doing such things as poor mechanics, that could be poor arm action, that could be collapsing, spending too much time on the ground, not staying tall. Whatever it is, you're wasting movement and you're wasting energy. All right, so keep that in mind. So how do we fix that? We can train our front side mechanics. We can do things such as high knees, uh, heel unders, toe ups. These are basic drills that we can do to train our front side mechanics and perfect our sprinter's gait. All right, and focus on arm drive. Since I'm sitting here right in front of the camera, I can give you my quick rules that deal with, you know, um, proper arm mechanics. So imagine there's an arm running down a line running down the middle of your body. When you're sprinting, do not let your arms cross that line. Rule number one. My most important rule for me, you're standing in an imaginary doorway. You're standing in an imaginary doorway right here, right? Do not let your arms go outside of that doorway, right? So again, we don't want to do this. We don't want that arms, elbows flaring out. We want to move from cheek to our back pocket. Can't see that too well sitting down, but cheek to your back pocket. That's how we want to move, right? We never let our hands go beyond our eye level. So we're not up here when we run. Stay right about here, right, eye level. So those are some basic rules you can follow for your arm, for proper arm action. All right. But again, it's about movement, being efficient with your movement, and being efficient with your arm action. All right. In this case. So, all right. So focus on arm drive. All right. Things to avoid: overstriding. So overstriding, I can't really demonstrate it right now, but I want you to understand when you're in the acceleration phase of the sprint, you you start by driving your legs, your legs behind your hips. All right. Let me see if I can give you a visual right here. These are your hips, right? Your legs, as a sprinter, your legs are behind your hips, and you're driving forward with your legs moving in a piston-like fashion. All right. This is the initial. It doesn't look too good on the camera. There it is. Maybe that a little better for you. But piston-like action from the legs. All right. Driving behind the hips, attacking the ground. That's what's going to propel you forward horizontally. All right. So when we take our step from the rear leg position behind the hips, right, we have to drive our leg forward. Overstriding takes place when that front leg, as you're moving forward, strikes too far in your front of your center of mass or your hips or your torso, right? When that leg is too far in front of your center of mass or your hips, You're going to strike the ground, and you're literally not running at that point. You're literally not running again until your hips pass over your leg, right? Then once again, you're running again. So, and I'll see if I can give you another illustration with my fingers, right? It's the best I have. I should have drew a picture for you real quick. But let me see if I can do that real quick. We'll do that real quick. Draw a picture. So you have the hips right here, the hips and the legs. You can't see it because of the blur. There you go. Hips right here, legs right here, legs right here behind the hips, right? Those are the legs behind the hips. So you're driving forward, propelling forward horizontally with your piston-like leg action. When this leg hits the ground, I'm about to draw this leg, hits the ground in front of your hips, right here, in front of your hips, or in front of your center of mass, you're not moving, or running until that center of mass passes that leg. All right, that is overstriding. All right, that's at the acceleration phase. When you're at the top phase of your max velocity phase of the sprint, striding is a case when we're not striking the ground underneath our hip, but we're overreaching. Our foot is striking the ground in front of our center of mass once again, and then once our foot strikes the ground, we still have to wait for our center of mass to pass over that foot before we start running again. So literally, you're starting and braking when you're overstriding. All right. I hope that was clear. I know it started off kind of gray with me trying to give you demos, but if you have questions about that, drop that in the comment, or I can make a video just on overstriding. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. That took too long. And what's the next thing? You can drop your chest or looking down while sprinting. Yes, dropping your chest. So when we drop in general, I like to say collapse. When we drop, what we're going to end up doing is spending too much time on the ground. All right. So to minimize ground contact, you want to keep that body tall. You want to strike the ground with your legs straight. But the problem becomes when we look down or we drop our chest, we're going to collapse or spend too much time on the ground. We might even heel strike. Heel strike is going to can possibly take you back to the overstriding, right? We strike the ground with our hip. We strike the ground with our heel, right? Strike the ground with our heel. And during that process, we have to wait until our center of mass crosses that foot before we actually start sprinting again, all right? So those are a couple of things you want to avoid: overstriding, and then dropping your chest or just looking down or collapsing while sprinting. All right. Now, reason number 2, lack of strength and power. Research says, or give you a little insight, speed equals force times velocity. A weak athlete can't produce enough ground force to accelerate quickly. Period, folks. You have to have the amount of strength in the body to generate the power, generate the force to strike the ground efficiently and propel yourself forward or horizontally or vertically. All right. So when we're running top speed, max force, we're producing high levels of vertical force. Vertical force straight down to the ground. That's when we're upright, we're running straight. If we don't have that strength in the leg to generate force, that's what's going to minimize your speed. Let's go back to the acceleration phase. The acceleration phase is more difficult. You have to break the inertia initially, right? During acceleration phase, you spend more time on the ground. That's another challenge, all right? So again, if you don't have the strength, if you don't have the power to propel that body horizontally, you're not going to get a good start. You're not going to get a good sprint. You're not going to get a good time, all right? So we have to spend time in the weight room, all right? And specifically, things we can do sled pushes, right? We can do a lot of single leg squats. We can do any type of squat, really. We can do a bilateral squat, unilateral squats, right? We can do those sled pushes, like I said. And we want to strengthen our posterior chain. That's our engine, all right? That's our glutes, our hamstrings, low back. That's our posterior chain. That's our engine, all right? Now, what do we need to avoid? Only doing lift drills or conditioning. Oof. Only doing light drills, I should say. Only doing light drills or conditioning. So light drills, speed mechanic drills, things that arm action drills. Those are drills that are necessary, but they're a part of the puzzle, right? They're not the foundation, right? Um, so conditioning is tough because in team sports, you guys are going to be running a lot. The athletes are going to be running a lot, right? And they're not going to be running max effort. It's not going to be as the type of spring we need to actually get them faster. So don't adopt that mindset, athletes and parents. You have to do it. You have to do it at practice. But if want your son or your athlete or your daughter to go outside and run, they need to sprint, and they need to sprint at max effort. They need to take time and recover in between. Period. All right. So let's not get caught up in the need to just go out and run 20 minutes. No, we can sprint hard and rest accordingly, but just running at 50, 60, 70% is not going to get you faster, right? And just another thing to avoid, just staying outside of the weight room. You have to get in there. You have to get in there with a plan. If you can't develop a plan, your parents, you the athlete, you can hire somebody like myself. You get a local strength coaches. Things you can do. All right, there's options. All right. So reason number 3, no sprint specific drills. All right, it's another thing. So speed training must be specific, meaning short, high intensity sprints, not long distance running. There's my point. That's according to the NSCA, National Strength and Conditioning Association. That's from a study that was done in 2022. Bottom line is you do have to be specific. I said it previously. Our sprint drills are a part of the puzzle. All right. If we don't do these drills as part of the puzzle, and we just randomly run, without the intent of being aware of our mechanics, being aware of our arm action, being aware of attacking the ground underneath our hips or behind our hips, depending what phase of the sprint you're in. If we don't do these things, we're not training our neuromuscular system to move efficiently. All right? Excuse me. We're not training our nervous system. We're not training our muscular system to work together and move efficiently. That makes sense? So we need to do these drills, and there's tons of drills you can do, tons of speed specific drills you can do, resisted sprints, falling starts, 10-yard bursts. The list goes on and on, but you have to do these specific drills, all right? So include sprint plyos like bounding, include sprint specific plyos like bounding. So we talked about minimizing ground contact time earlier. The best way to do that is to become a bouncy or elastic, to be more specific, or to be elastic. That is your ability how to store and release energy. How rapidly can you store and release energy? Practicing plyos makes you more efficient at uh, storing and releasing energy. Practicing plyometrics, all right? Plyometrics, jump training, basically what it is. Jump training is something that you must practice to increase your speed as an athlete. We need plyos. Things to avoid, I mentioned it earlier: jogging, conditioning, the speed work. That's a no. That's 100% going to slow you down. All right, and it's going to beat you up. All right, it's going to beat up your joints. All right, so over time. So stay away from jogging, stay away from conditioning as speed work, right? And too much volume without intent. Yes, too much volume without intent. I talked to you about the intent before. Working on your mechanics, working on your start. That's the intent that's needed. Just going out and running for 20 minutes is highly detrimental for you. You want to avoid that. All right. So, and reason number 4, poor recovery and mobility. I spoke on mobility in one of my Instagram videos. Um, Basically, when you have poor mobility, you can't move through the joint's full range of motion, which is going to cause insufficient force production. Period. Right? When you can't move through your full range of the joint's full range of motion, you're going to decrease your ability to produce force. All right? Bottom line. And recovery is necessary. It's tough as a strength coach when you're training uh, athletes that are in high school or the worst of travel sports, where they're doing something every day, week-long tournaments and crazy stuff like that, you know, they come to you beat up already. So what do? How do you train? Do you beat them up more? They have a tournament. Some of them going to have a tournament. May have a tournament later that day. Some are going to have. Some of the athletes will have a tournament tomorrow. How do you train them? Right. You have to incorporate recovery at some level. It might be a day where they come over, they come in. We just work on mobility. Right. We have some tools I can let them lay on that enhance the recovery process, and maybe we touch on a sprint or two just to touch on that just to awaken that nervous system, activate that nervous system for the activity that might take place that later that day or tomorrow. But the focus has to be recovery. So you make recovery a priority, folks. Make recovery a priority. All right. So poor recovery and mobility, tight muscles equal limited stride length and reduced force output. Central nervous system fatigue also kills explosiveness. Basically, what I'm saying. I mentioned the neuromuscular system before. When the neuromuscular system, when the nervous system and the muscular system are fatigued or not efficiently moving through the ranges of motion, you're going to compromise your force production period. All right. So how do we fix this? Obviously, one is pretty obvious. Mobilize your hips, mobilize your ankles, mobilize your hamstrings. I would say it's obvious because become mobile from that perspective. We got to increase mobility. That's pretty obvious, right? But we need to specifically mobilize the hips, ankles, and hamstrings. All right. So this is a big one and highly overlooked. You must prioritize sleep, hydration, and your breath work. All right. Sleep, hydration, and breath work, very important. All right. So, um, 8 hours of sleep, half your body weight in the water. I believe that's it, or in ounces. I think I gotta look that up to be specific to give you the right answer there. But in breath work, that's just a way to relax you. Um, Positive breath work can take you from your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight, to your sympathetic nervous system, which is your relaxed, calm state. So that's why you want to practice breath work. All right. Things to avoid: training speed every day. That's a no-no. And or ignoring pain or tightness. All right. Address these things. Now, as a team sport athlete, you will have to learn the difference between, you know, soreness and injury, or maybe a slight tweak and injury. What can you play through, and when do you need to address it? When do you need to get a diagnosis? Over time, you need to understand the difference between the two, especially when you go to the next level, college, and maybe even higher than that. So those are the main reasons your athlete is still slow right now. All right. So actionable activity time. All right. Two actionable activities and a bonus activity I'm going to give you as well. All right. Activity number one: 10-yard falling starts, 3 to 5 reps. A simple drill. Simple drill. We also call it the lean, fall, and go. Basically, give you a hand right here. See if this goes better than the last time. This is your body right here. All we do is lean out. Keep your body stiff. Do not collapse at the hips. Do not collapse. Do not round at the chest. Keep your body stiff. Fall out till you're around that 45-degree angle in relation to the ground. So that was something like this. And you just sprint. That's a simple drill, 3 to 5 reps, 10 yards. And this bonus is going to be relevant to that 10-yard falling start drill. It's going to help you out. All right. Cue, lean, fall, explode. All right. Short burst only. We're working on acceleration. All right. And build acceleration and reaction time. All right. So that's one thing you do: the 10-yard falling starts drill, 3 to 5 reps. Run 10 yards as hard as you can. Lean, fall, explode. All right. And our next activity is sprint dribbles, 3 times 10 yards. Basically, keep your posture tall and stride short and fast. So we go short strides, like chop, 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 chopping our feet, then we explode. Sprint dribbles for 10 yards. You can do the explosive dribbling per se, dribbling of the feet, or the short chopping your feet movement for 5 yards, then explode for another 5 yards. All right. And this is going to work on your front side sprint pattern, your front side sprint pattern. I mentioned the front side mechanics earlier, right? That's when you're raising your knees when you run. The front of your body, your quad is going to be at a 90-degree angle. Your knees going to be at a 90-degree angle. Your ankle is going to be at a 90-degree angle, right? Those are what we call front side mechanics, and this trains and this helps that. So, all right. So the bonus activity that you need to apply to each of these actionable activities, it's all mental. It's a mindset hack that I use with my guys all the time. Have your athletes you do this, repeat this before you step on that line. Say this to yourself. No one is faster than me in my state for 10 yards. All right? You can say a different distance. You can say a different location. But the point is, you need to understand that off of that line, no one is faster than you. All right? No one, repeat this to yourself. No one is faster than me faster than me in my state for 10 yards. No one is faster than me within my state of Georgia, right here, within the state of Georgia for 10 yards. All right? Say that, own it. You will come off that line like a dog over time. All right? So that's it. It's right 10 o'clock on the dot. I'm out of here. So if this helped you understand what's holding your athlete back and what to do about it, I want you to grab my free speed training ebook. It gives you drills, strength tips, all mindset, everything you need to know about speed training. So you flat out get faster, all aspects, physically, mentally. If you're interested in that, it's a 30-day ebook. The workouts in there, the strength training's in there, everything you need is in there. 30-day plan. All right. Just DM me in the comments below. We'll drop in the comments below the word speed. All right. Drop in the comments below the word speed, and I will get that ebook to you. All right. So that is it. I have another call I have to get on. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for YouTube. Thanks for stopping by for the second time. Shout out to YouTube. Shout out to the Complete Athlete family. I will see you guys soon. Bye-bye.